All right, here we are at the La Jolla Brew House for the beginning of Hemp is Our History Week, May 17th. And we're going to tell people all about hemp and especially hemp history here in San Diego. And we're going to, blow people's minds away. Well, thanks again for coming. This is basically the first event of many across the country and throughout this week. This is basically Hemp History Week. So this is what we're going to be going over tonight. This is me, Dion Markaaff, and David's going to speak. We're also going to be honoring the life of Jack Herer. So this was on one of the front sections of the Washington Post last week. This is a picture of a man we'll be talking about later tonight. His name is Lester Dewey. He's the one who did all the scientific studies, or I shouldn't say all, but a lot of scientific studies for the American government about hemp in the turn of last century. So I'm going to go very briefly, over our history with cannabis, hemp. But basically, our history is covered with hemp. I mean, our history and hemp are one and the same. So even the beginning of civilization is when cultivation started. And all the way back then, hemp was there. So then we have American history. And American history and hemp are, one and the same. So in fact, America was originally founded as a place to grow hemp. So again, we're here to honor the life of and work of Jack Herer. I'm going to briefly go over our San Diego hemp history real quick, and then David's going to take over and bring us into the modern era. So San Diego, we have a very incredible hemp history. And so Balboa Park was built in the early 1910s. It was completed in 1915 for the World's Fair. And even though, as I say here, they don't brag about, oh yeah, it's made out of hemp. But if you look into the records, it's there. So Scripps is well known for like Scripps Ranch, Scripps Institute. So basically from here to beyond Torrey Pines, all the way to the mountains east of the 15, he owned all that area. And not only that, funny, this is something I found out, that he built every road in San Diego. Go on. My last thing that I'm going to talk about San Diego hemp history is right after this, so talking 1917, this is 1927, 10 years later, there was a factory, a hemp factory, built here in San Diego. Again, thanks for coming. We're going to now transition into the modern history, and to guide us is David Bronner.
Thank you, Dion. So basically, there was the official history, kind of very Orwellian. There was no mention of hemp. Like, when we were growing up, the 60s was swept under the rug. There was no such thing as hemp. If you went to the Smithsonian and you went to their fiber exhibit, there was no mention of hemp. Moving forward to today, there's a lot of people, Dion, myself, many people were inspired. Like, wow, we want to live in a world that we're, sustainable. It's renewable. It's not, we're not just ruining our planet for generations. And, hemp is not in and of itself like the answer to all our problems, but it symbolizes more than any other crop, like figuring out, well, how do we find a sustainable basis for our economic living? And, we can't keep cutting down our forests. We can't drill our, this whole reliance on oil is ridiculous. So hemp has a lot of potential, and actually, well, we'll get to it. It's like really amazing what hemp has to offer. So hemp is basically a dual crop. Like part of why hemp is an amazing plant is it's not just a seed, it's not just a fiber crop, it's a dual value crop. And so for instance, in North America, it's mostly a seed and food driven. The market drivers are on the seed side. And so here's all, the hemp nut, you got all these different foods, hemp oil for food, body care, and technical products, varnishes and furniture polish and that kind of stuff. And so basically in Canada, right now they have all this kind of waste fiber, because the seed markets are exploding. And there's just some of the uses that we'll get into. Then on the fiber side, we have like traditional textiles, hemp clothing, like Dion showed in that slide with China, Ma, great plant. Like 99.9% of everybody wore hemp, and 0.01% wore silk from mulberry. Hemp was basically what clothed humanity.
Well, many people are familiar with the varieties of the cannabis sativa plant, commonly called marijuana. Our next guest works closely with marijuana's cousin, different here, hemp. Kenneth Barker is the CEO of Naturally Advanced Technologies. It's a company that has created an organic process for turning hemp into a fiber. Ken, so welcome. Thanks for joining us. And you've just inked a deal with Hanes. Talk to us about that deal, exactly what's involved and how much of Hanes products is going to be hemp going forward.
Well, we inked a deal that is a multi-phase joint development agreement that allows us to test some of the facilities that Hanes has in their North Carolina plants to see if it'll run our enzyme process through their laundries. And the reason for that is to see if we can speed up the go-to market process after a long period of almost 18 months of us talking to Hanes and evaluating the fiber and its benefits as it relates to their industry. It's early to say right now what the percentage of applications will be throughout the Hanes product assortments. Right now we're blending 20% of our Kraylar brand fiber with 80% cotton and achieving phenomenal results. But we'll know very shortly what the full rollout looks like as we commercialize with them.
Well, Hanes products, many of them, I assume now, are 100% cotton.
Correct.
Why use any hemp at all? Why not just stick with cotton?
There's two reasons. Our process is an entirely certified organic process. And the consumer as well as the retailers today are demanding an organic platform in order to satisfy the demand that they're seeing coming through from the consumer.
Well, there's organic cotton out there as well, though.
Yes, there is. What hemp has is performance attributes that organic cotton does not have. In our test that Hanes sponsored at NC State University, we came up with some results that we weren't expecting. In an 80-20 blend of cotton and Kraylar, we reduced shrinkage by 50%, and we reduced dye stuff uptake by 20%. Those are huge cost benefits for a company the size of Hanes that consumes as much cotton as they do.
Are there any other benefits?
Yes, tensile strength was a natural, and we knew that would be the case because of just hemp's structure and the length of the fiber.
So thanks to our sponsors, thank you guys, and
A very successful night. Over 100 people came out and got to hear about San Diego's hemp history, the history of our country with hemp, and history around the world with hemp. Plus, David Bronner covered the modern history of hemp and how it's coming back into society and being used for all kinds of stuff. And really, hopefully from tonight's actions and education that will move Barack Obama to allow farmers in America to once again grow hemp.